Hey folks. Alright. Live with the Shaman. Live with a Shaman. Shamans, and we're live. Let me open up Discord over here. Discord is open. Welcome to those of you in the Discord group that are joining. I think we have Cindy, we have Clint, and we have Dave.
Good morning, everybody.
The only one we have in Facebook is Dave at the moment, I think. Or that's the only one that says joined, anyway. Okay, well, I want to remind everybody that this is an adult channel. We do sometimes use language that might not be minor appropriate. Have to put that in there. So periodically we might cover a topic that may not always be politically correct. Every chance we get, we use a topic that may not be politically correct. Then again, we're shamans, so there you go.
Yeah.
Alright, so what is our topic today? Well, why we recommend the books that we do when we are training students. And you know, for the longest time I really didn't actually have a book list. Of course, when I was training face to face, I had recommendations of these books, and I'd say, hey, look, you know, if these will help you with self. And shaman training, and here's the whole thing, and I'm just going to break off into the middle of it. I'm going to cover the books that I recommend and why, and then we're going to go down. We'll let Cindy and Clint talk about the books that they represent for their students, and if Dave has any books that he recommends and why. We would like the titles posted for sure. Now, as far as where you can get these books, you can get them all over the place. A lot of the ones that I recommend are relatively old. They're still in print, I believe, and you can actually still find them. I did look them up to make sure they were still at least available. I do as many books as possible that I can in audio, because unfortunately me reading a book and remembering is, well, not going to happen most of the time. However, each of these that I recommend I have read cover to cover, and they've helped me. So let's, without further ado, anybody have any questions before we get started?
Nope. So we're going to post what we have in the discussion box.
In the discussion box, yeah. And you can create a reading list and upload the document to the Open GCS, and that's where these reading lists are posted, is in the file area of the Open GCS. So if you want to know how to get there, you can ask one of us, or one of us can post a link in the URL, in the chat area over here, or whatever. A bit of a reminder, in the description area is a non-expiring invite that takes you to the Live with the Shaman on Discord. You're welcome to join in. Again, I remind you, if you do join in, we are all adults here. We're liable to be talking about adult topics. So if you have sensitive wee little ears, you might not want to join. Drum. Yeah. Right. Left monitor. Stage left. Here we go. Right. Reading list, blah blah blah, founder, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Alright. The first book is Flying Without a Broom. What is flying without a broom? Well, I guess I could copy and paste mine in the chat area as well. Right, okay. So,
In
go ahead.
Flying with the Broom, so Flying with the Broom is astral projections, the travel.
Astral travel, yes. Flying Without a Broom was actually the very first pagan philosophy book that was recommended to me in, oh my God, 97 or 98, by a friend of mine that I had met online that was kind of working with me on finding my path and where I was going and what I was going to be doing. And I knew of this spiritual plane. I knew of the existence of this spiritual plane. I knew that spirit guides lived there. I knew that all of the mythical creatures that lived there. I knew that my guardian, the teacher, Pegasus, was there. But I never knew the name of it. I never knew the name of this place. Well, Flying Without a Broom is a very small book. It's relatively thin. It is short, sweet, and to the point. This is what it is. This is how you get there. This is how it works. And here's some of the do's and don'ts.
Is that on audio, you think?
I have not been able to find it. If somebody can find this damn thing on audio, please share. The Key of Light series I need to re-download. I used to have it on audio at one time. I'll go out and see if I can find that today and post that on my share. But Flying Without a Broom is probably the best astral introduction book that I have found. And the author of the book makes it very plain that this is called astral travel. Astral projection came from charge. I'm sorry, but no. You're actually traveling with your spirit essence to another realm, to a different plane, to a different existence, if you will. Some remember vividly their astral travels, some do not. Some have been to astral multiple times and couldn't tell you. So astral travel is not an exact science. It works differently for everyone, but Flying Without a Broom is probably the best astral travel book that I've ever seen. And I'll just copy and paste these into the chat area here. Okay, this is one of the ones that really does sometimes just blow people's mind, and they're like, what the hell does this have to do with shamanism? Well, let's talk about it for just a second. Shamanism is a lifestyle. You don't become shaman. You learn eventually. You either are or you're not shaman. There are those out there that are of the shamanic persuasion, but they may not be shaman. Shaman is a lifestyle. So the books that I use as my reading materials for my students, you have to learn about yourself first, right? Astral Travel, yes, #1 book. breaks you away from this plane and allows you to be able to find the astral college, the astral masters, the teachers of the astral, your spirit guides, your traveling companions, your seps of your council. It can help you communicate with your council. Now, if anybody has any questions, do what?
So the heaven is inside.
Dave, can't hear you.
Heaven is inside.
I think you said heaven is inside.
That's what I heard.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you know, whether you call it Valhalla, whether you call it heaven, whether you call it the next life, whether you call it whatever you call it, that resides within each of you, within each of us. We've done some topics in the past of what happens when you die, the different philosophies and the different thoughts that go along with that. So the Key of Light series, what the hell? Nora Roberts, right? Nora Roberts is the one that wrote these books. There's 3 of them. 3, not 4. But the Key of Light series, yeah, okay, it's a soppy love story at the core. But if you take a look at the different books and the titles of the different books, you begin to understand how that can bring you out of your shell. When I first read, listened to the Key of Light series, I found it very eye-opening that the philosophy of the book, the underlying meaning of the book, is a little differently. It is perceived a little different by everyone. But the actual core of it helps you find yourself. It helps you to release the inner self, the inner key of light, the keys of light, the valor, the honor, the self-respect, the ability to step out in the world and step outside of yourself, to be able to accept you for who you are. What do they have to do with shamanism? Nothing and then everything. Because if we can't accept people for who and what they are, then we're really not worth a damn as shamans, and we're not going to be able to help anybody. If I can't accept you for who you are when you come to me for help, say for example your deity is Lucifer, okay, great, I have counseled some Luciferians. I have had demonologists come to me for help. I've had Luciferians, witches, fae, agnostics, Satanists, and Satanists are different from Luciferians, if you didn't know, and atheists. So in these Key of Light series, it allows you to be able to break outside of yourself, to step outside of who you are and take a look at the variables in a bit of a different way. Any questions on that set of books?
We're reading them again.
Say that again?
I said they're a good set of books.
Yeah, the Key of Light series really is an interesting set of books.
Hey, Lucy.
Is it a Lucy?
Hello.
Hello. So, say what?
I just woke up.
Ah, right. Well, I guess you needed the rest then.
Yeah, my new work schedule, I stay up until like 3 a.m. now.
Ah, damn. So, now let's think about something. in the people that joined me as a first year, they got plenty of time to read these things. Well, book set 2, the Key of Light series, unless someone can just sit down and digest an entire set of books in a night, not me. If you're trying to digest these things in a single setting, you're not going to get anything out of them at all. But if you're reading them as a first year shaman student and you're communicating with me about them, then you're going to have a little better of an idea of where I'm coming from. Now, this next set that I'm going to post is called the Black Jewel Trilogy. Now, it's called the Black Jewel Trilogy even though there's 8 books. They're big. They're thick. Some people have said they're hard to read. Others have said once they get sucked in, they can't get out. But
I don't remember reading all those.
say again?
I don't remember reading those.
Yeah, they're not real hard to find. Like I say, I've got them on audio. I need to get the rest of these on audio as well. But the Black Jewel trilogies, and I go back and reread these once or twice, once a year, once every other year, just to kind of remind myself of where I'm at. And every time you read them, you're going to get something different out of them. Now, the Black Jewel trilogies is an ongoing reading thing. It's going to take you some time to get through these books, and here's why. They're going to show you more about the inner self and being able to, like with the Key of Light series, you're stepping outside of yourself. You're looking at the differences of Mother Earth, the different realms in the astral. You're looking at the different variables and the different things that different people follow. The Black Jewel trilogies is going to teach you about the web. It's going to talk a bit about the web of life and how it works. There's a lot of truths that go with the Black Jewel trilogies. Yeah, alright, it's a love story. Big deal. But you get below that love story where they're talking about the different clans and the different people that live in the different realms. It's going to talk about many of the different realms that exist at the same time this realm exists. It's just on the other side of the veil. Yeah, the Black Jewel trilogies is a wonderful fantasy, but it also chips away at those society programmed closed-minded norms that so many human beings have, and shamans are notorious for closed-minded rhetoric. But if we're going to be shamans that are going to help people and that are going to be out there and be able to help people, we're going to have to realize we're not the only thing there is. There is every formative possible belief system that you can imagine that human beings live with on a daily basis. And as far as my students go, they have to understand and be ready to accept this and what these books will teach you about yourself. I can help you understand them, and I can help you understand why I recommend them. But what they mean to you, you have to discuss with me, with your teacher, what they mean to you. And I want to move on because I don't want to take up all of the time on mine. Book number 4 it is very, in my idea, book number 4 is very incorrectly named. And it was named that because that's just what they call magic in the Scottish Isles. They always have. But this book, once you understand about yourself, you've astral, you understand the astral, you understand the keys of life, and you understand that through the Black Jewel trilogies that there is a great big wonderful amazing web out there where people can travel and do different things. It gives you a visual sensory system to hang on to when you're traveling around the different planes using the different webs and the different ideas. Now you see where we're going? This book takes you deeper into the Celtic magic, into the magic of the Pictish people that I follow, that a lot of my magic comes from. It teaches you how to scry. It teaches you about wands and the understanding of how to use the earth magic. So this is, this is where my philosophy of shamanism comes from. And I've had a few non-shamans argue with me, and I've had quite a few shamans argue with me that these have nothing to do with anything. Well, come, walk in my astral, sit with me as a student for 6 months, read the books and communicate with me on what they mean, and we'll see how you feel after that. And these books, it's non-negotiable, and I will know whether or not you read them by your questions and by the discussions we have, because I know every one of these damn things upside down and backwards. Right, so to cover in short, Flying Without a Broom, the Key of Light series, the Black Jewel trilogies, and the Scottish Witchcraft. The word Scottish Witchcraft gives me a bit of a tick, but that's the name of the book. I can't do anything about that.
Nice series.
Yeah. They're wonderful books. They're, Dave says Scottish Picts had a direct connection. Yes, the Pictish people were the first people to settle Scotland. That's an archaeological fact. Prior to the Picts becoming Christianized, the Pictish warriors, not the Celts, but the Pictish warriors that battled nude, colored blue, are the ones that scared the shit out of the Romans. They are the only clan that ever beat the Romans at their own game, which is why the Roman named Hadrian built Hadrian Wall, the Hadrian Wall. And also, I've been to the Hadrian Wall, and it's an amazing piece of architecture. Right. So anyway, that is why that is the recommended set of books that I recommend, and why. Who wants it next?
I'll go. Okay. I recommend on my students the same books. I don't know if I ever told Lucy, but with those books, we read those. And then I have two other books that I like people to read. And I'm trying to copy and paste. Anyway, one of
Every
them
time I
is
get on Facebook, it kicks me off. So sorry.
okay.
What?
On my phone, whenever I try to go to Facebook, it kicks me off Discord. It's my phone.
Okay. Well, anyway, back to my books. The two books I recommend along with his is I'm Celtic Woman. I'm fascinated with it. I live it now. Um, anyway, there's one book called Celtic Woman Spirituality Accessing the Cauldron of Life by Edith McCoy. That one is very enlightening to the woman side of Celtic. There's masculine and the feminine. So this book here opens you up to the feminine part of the Celtic shaman. It does the unleashes your inner warrior, and at times you have to embrace that to get through life. And the other book I entitled crap
Crap.
is the
I've read that book. Crap.
the other book I do is a book of Celtic magic by Christopher Hughes. It's learning how to do Celtic magic through his aspect. And those are the only two books I'll add to that list that Dawn has already flashed out. And
I
I've
have
posted
one.
it in. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Lucy. You got something?
Yeah, there's a book that I found a few years ago. It's called The Temple of Shamanic Witchcraft,
Yep.
Shadows, Spells, and the Healing Journey. It is one of the books that I have found that actually makes sense to me, being both shaman and witch, being shaman always the core, and it
Tell me.
helps me incorporate the witchcraft.
Right. Tell me it again.
The Temple of Shamanic Witchcraft. It's by Christopher Pensack.
Yeah. He also has a. That's one of the latest books, and he has a series.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into these
I
myself.
have a link. I'll take a picture of it later and send it in the chat.
I'm gonna post it in just a minute. Yeah, that's the book. He has. It's the inner inner temple of witchcraft, outer temple of witchcraft, and high witchcraft. I think there's two other ones, but
Well,
they all go
Yeah, that
together.
is the one I like the most.
let's kind of keep it shamany as possible, shall we? Otherwise, you give the old man heartburn.
Well, when I was in the other part of my training, but yeah, the temple of shamanic witchcraft. It what did they say about it? Yeah, that's
Oh,
his.
Dawn, you should be open to learning. Love you.
Well, this book you mentioned, it's a year and a day training in shamanic witchcraft.
Yeah, I would like to look into that myself. Um, so,
That, I like it. I have one of those.
right. Um, Clint? Did Clint?
I have
Ah,
I
there
have
he is.
three. I have three that I have found. I just posted in. One is Ash Oak and Thorn. It covers a whole bunch of different ones, not just shaman, but the Druids and all the different ones. And then the neo-pagan, neo-shaman, that's a new one. I read little excerpts from it. I haven't gotten the book yet. And then the other one, the Fey Wiccan, was told to me by Cami, and I got it. And it also covers shamanic paths in that too, and they're very good reads.
Well, it looks like they would be. I know that we definitely need to get these up on the Open GCS page file page. That way, I mean, think about it. People need to know what we expect of them through their training. I mean, we did the whole training thing where we went through the entire training process of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, and I think it would be good that each of the recognized teachers within the Grove, produce their reading list of books that are good to read. Now, I think people need to understand too that a book is a guide. It's not a law. Um, it's not, it's like I've always told people, when you read a book, you read it for its philosophy and its wisdom and its ideas and its thoughts and its processes. You read a book as a guide, not as a law. And this is one of the big problems that society has with the Bible, is they think it's a book of laws when in all reality it's a book of parables. It's a book of thoughts and philosophies and suggestions and recommendations. So, looking at Cindy and Clint's list so far, looks like we've got some good reading. Lucy, Clint, were you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, Lucy's not on the Facebook. She's only on Discord.
I'll post her book.
Yeah. Be sure and put in there from Lucy. These
I
are the
recommend
books.
looking at Amazon because I found mine. I had lost my original one. It's normally like $20, but on Amazon I got it for like $2 or $3 plus shipping. So check out Amazon. I got it like for a total of $12.
Yeah, you guys don't be afraid to look at Amazon's used book area. I mean, hell, you can find some amazing
Looks brand
deals.
new.
That's not
eBay's
bad.
got some good ones too.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you to be careful if you purchase used audio books from eBay and Amazon. I've purchased some that have been damaged, so keep that in mind. Okay, so Cindy posted Lucy's list. Very good. Dave, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Do you have recognized as a brother shaman in the Grove, of course, do you have a set of books or a reading list that you would recommend to people for your breed of shaman?
To be honest with you, nope.
That makes perfect sense. A lot of shamans don't read other shamans' work. A lot of naturally taught shamans just don't partake in other shamans' work. But in this day and age, people want to read a book. They want to read something tangible, and they want to go at it from, okay, I want a teacher, but I also want to see in writing where you're coming from. And that's always fascinated me. Um, I'm not a book taught shaman. Dave is not a book taught shaman. Neither is Clint, Cindy, or Lucy. Neither is Sabrina, who's not here right now. She's studying books. But
Yep.
none of my students are really book taught shamans. We use books, like I said a while ago, as something to get you started. Your actual education in the Grove, if you've gone through, watched the videos, or read on the Open GCS, our training curriculum, um, most of what we do is real life. Not something you find in a book. Wouldn't you agree, Dave?
Yep. Yep. I'm pretty proud of myself for having survived. Um, I'm still going through it, but the hard stuff's over. And, the hardest thing that I went, the real hard teaching was over when I went 12,000 miles away and just felt like I wanted to die, but I needed to go there because I finally came after years and years, I finally came actually face to face with myself inside. That's a scary, dark place, but, after that, I just I don't read a lot. I really need to read, I like audiobooks, large print. I have to do large print. It's easier for me. But and I'm just saying, I feel the goddess, the creator in me. I channel it so much that it's hard for me to concentrate sometimes. You know, it's
Oh,
hard for
I
me to
get it.
concentrate. I get so much, and I'm so satisfied that I just sit and and I just enjoy right now. I don't care if the sunrise is tomorrow. It's not here. So if I wake up and the sun comes up, then I'm good. But that's just weird. Books are okay, but I think somebody needs a solid foundation of, accepting who they are and accepting other people, because if you don't accept who you are, how can you accept what you're made of? So
Well,
I think that needs to be kind of a foundation, but books are kind of a way to point people.
well, and
And it's a
that
combination of things,
right,
pointing
and
people to the natural world and books. But I would say natural world first, then you get some kind of um, subconscious knowledge that you're taught, and then you can channel that up to kind of pull things from books that you need.
well, yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing we were talking about in the beginning. Is you have to, like you say, you have to be introduced to self. You have to realize that and open up and allow yourself to be um, pried open, dumped out, shuffled around in a bucket. The the shaman term for it is the shamanic burning, the burning of the self. Now, each of my shamanic burnings have been done in astral, in front of council, where they have essentially put me in the center and lit the metaphysical fire, and you peel away all of the crap until you get down to the bones of self. You get down to the core, and it absolutely makes you question, who am I? What am I? Where do I think I came from, and does it really matter? Does Is the human self more important than the spirit self? And my thought philosophies and my training behind it is that the human self has to be just as important, never more so, but just as important as the spirit self. Because if we're not taking care of the human, well, the spirit's just kind of along for the ride. But we have to take care of the human needs. And it's always been my teaching that the human needs are the 5 human elements. And if you don't remember what those are, you can go back and watch one of the other videos or pull up the training. But the 5 human elements and the 3 human personalities are the things that have to be built on a foundation.
So if I
Go ahead.
so if I do have students come to me, which I don't because I don't go pursue it, but if I do, what I'm going to do, if I do teach people who are already this way, that are born this way, then I will try to help them. I'll help them try to avoid some of the hard ways that I've had to go through to kind of cut the corner, because I had no one. I had no mentors. The only mentors I had were the ones you can't see, and if you can't survive their school, well, that's just too bad. But I would help people try to avoid some of the, you know what I mean, some of the harder ways to go through that I've had to go through, you know. So,
But is that not the way of a good teacher? I'm
yeah, I'm just saying, to try to help people maybe curb some of the hard way that I've had to go.
right, right.
So
And I mean,
that would be helpful.
teaching students is not that much different than having kids, having children. Um, we want to teach our children so that they don't have to go through the crap that we did. However, if you ever raised a kid, you realize soon that it doesn't make a damn what you teach them. They're still going to go through their own set of trials and tribulations and screw ups and uh-ohs and holy shit and what have you. But when we're talking about life teaching, that is way different from education.
But I think some people would already have, if I was decided to teach people, that they would already have some life education, that they would kind of got some of that out of the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you help them learn. You help them learn who they are. Um, I don't think any of us here would ever tell anybody who they are. It's not my job. It's not our job. It's not the shaman's job to tell someone who they are or who they are not. Now, I have had people come to me and say, I want to learn shamanism. Okay, cool. But I want you to understand that because you learn shamanism doesn't make you shaman. What makes you shaman is who and what you are at the core, deep within the self.
And this is what the gods only care about, that, what we are at the core, and that's what they care about. They don't really care about our vainess. They don't care about our vainess, and they don't care about who we think we are. It's what we are inside. And if you have enough intelligence to figure out, if they decide to teach you hard, then you have to. Then that's up for you. But anyway, I'll be quiet now because I don't want to put my foot on you.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You make a good point. And as far as and that steps us, that steps us to casting an altar, lighting a candle, going to the cosmos or going to deity, to one of the topics we had before, how to talk to the gods and goddesses. We talk to the gods and goddesses through ourself, through our inner heart, through our communication skills or lack of skills, whatever.
Through our sleep, we do a lot of it in our dreams.
Well, yeah, dreamscape is a wonderful thing. But you have you have multiple types of learners, if you will. And one of the things that I learned studying psych and the psychology of learning, being alphanumeric dyslexic and having problems with reading comprehension and having problems with reading, period, it takes me 4 times longer to digest a book than it does somebody with good reading comprehension. I don't give a damn how big the print is. Granted, bigger print does help with the spectacles, but you have tactile learners who are hands-on, right? You have audio learners who hear, and they learn more by hearing it explained to them. Well, then you have the text learners, those who want to see it, those who want to read it. They can read it, they can digest it, and then they have a teacher to help them put it into a philosophical box, if you will, so that they can understand what they're reading. Because a lot of these books that we recommend are books that we've read or listened to or whatever. I consider listening to an audio book, unabridged as it were, the same thing as reading the book for me. Now, I know a lot of people that listening to a book does nothing for them. They have to read it. They want to see the text on the paper.
That's like me. I can read books and stuff, but it's hard for me to concentrate on some audiobooks. They seem jumbled.
The main learning comes from the subconscious level when you're being taught, and they teach in layers of feelings. They make situations will happen. You're confronted just with some mind-bending things, or if they leave things in a certain way, in a physical way, they need to get whatever it is. I think the main teaching, the main core, is when they teach us at a subconscious level, and they create certain feelings, and if we don't get it, we keep getting these feelings in different ways until we get it. But they insert things inside these feelings. It goes in us like layers, and we can channel some of it up later. But that's the main learning, is subconsciously, because they'll teach when you're asleep, when you're out in the woods, you're out whatever, and they go through the back of the head, and that's how they come in. And I think that's the main learning you're going to get is in the subconscious level when they teach you, not in a conscious level. But reading's good though.
Well, yeah. And there are people that get that subconscious memory through reading, through audio, through watching people. Case in point, when I was 10, 11, and 12 years old, my grandfather taught me how to work on an automobile by putting me under there with him and showing me, okay, this is the drain plug, we're going to change the oil. Don't lay under the drain plug because you'll get the shit in your eye. Right? This is how we change an oil filter. This is kind of what an oil filter looks like. So I remember back, way that far back, believe it or not, being taught by tactile learning, showing, show me. And I've always told people, show me what you're talking about, or tell me, explain to me better where you're coming from, because the last thing I want to do, most especially the last thing I want to do in a spiritual situation, if you will, the last thing I want to do is misinterpret, misunderstand, or misuse what someone else is trying to teach or trying to talk about. So, um, damn, absolutely wonderful conversation. We're 10 minutes before the hour. So, I want to kind of draw to a close. I'm trying to keep these videos at an hour or just below because there are so
Hey,
many.
Don,
Uh huh.
can you post more than one video? You can do part 1 and then part 2.
Well, we can, but I don't know how much further we could go on what books we recommend and why.
Okay.
I mean, do you have a more verbose idea, Lucy? I'm all ears.
No, I'm just saying because, yeah, I don't know. You
Yeah,
still have.
he's done part one, part twos before.
Yeah, I'm okay doing part one, part two, part three, however many parts we need. Um, I would like to have some more topics that.
I have one book that I want to recommend.
Ah, what you got?
It would be Power of the Witch by Lori Cabot. It's phenomenal. And that's a really good one, and it has nothing to do with it. And it's an amazing book, and that's a really good one.
Yeah, it's a witch book, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that. You know,
No, it's a yeah. It would be a great book
I've read
for
it.
people.
um, Dave, can you type it into the text window there so people that are reading through this can get an idea of your recommendation? But while Dave's doing that, um, I am going to go ahead and draw to a close. The thing that I want young people to understand, new shamans and new shamans coming into the fold, and even those that have been in it since Moby Dick was a minnow, so to speak. You're never too old to learn. You're never too young to understand. When you allow your pride, thank you, Dave. When you allow your pride to conduct your education, you'll never learn anything. When you allow your arrogance to conduct your learning, you'll never learn anything. So if you will stop and you'll take a look and take a listen at what people are reading and what they're doing and what they're teaching, you may actually be able to pull bits and pieces out of it that may explain something to you. Because the gods are interesting creatures. Spirit guides are interesting creatures. They may put you in a place to hear one sentence that somebody said out of an entire paragraph dissertation of crap. But something in that one sentence will ping you and say, oh, that's what that's about. Do what?
I said, oh boy, do they.
Hey, yeah. So, with this in mind, pay attention to what you're reading. Don't take what you're reading as the gospel, okay? It's all ideas written by someone else in someone else's hand under someone else's philosophy. Take that philosophy, learn from it, let it carry you forward into your next set of learning. And the day you think you've stopped learning, well, that's the day you're dead. Because as long as you're living on this big blue marble, you're going to be learning something just like the rest of us. go through and copy and paste these different books and different recommendations that these teachers have provided for you. See what you think about them. If you want us to do a more verbose explanation on any one of the books and go through them, we probably can, though I think it'd be a uh, interesting waste of time, not necessarily a waste of time, but we'll do what we do. If you've got good topics, PM them to me. If you've got things we might want to talk about or a discussion you want to have, drop them over in a PM. We'll look forward to seeing you next time right here on Live with a Shaman. Have a great day and have a wonderful week.